So this is like my first video ever that I'm like putting online of myself with my face. So sorry, I don't know, I'm feeling awkward, but I feel like my story could help someone potentially. My name is Kelsey. I live in Maine, and I have been to basically every, big name gastro place in Maine. Midcoast Hospital was the first one. CMMC, Central Maine Medical Center, Portland Gastro, Maine Medical Center, and now I'm at Northern Light Mercy Gastro in Portland, and also with Mass General Gastroenterology, Dr. Lopes, I think, Emily Lopes. This began 6 years ago, I think. 2015 was when it started. I didn't have any issues bad enough to go seek medical help, really, like emergent medical help, until 2016 when I had my first episode of vomiting blood. I was working as a crisis counselor at the time, and I worked alone on third shift, and I was used to getting nauseous and throwing up, but I had never thrown up blood before. And so that happened in September of 2016, I think. And then 2016 in November, I had my second episode, as I call them. Ended up in the ER again, throwing up blood. Doctors dismissed me constantly because I'm not underweight. I'm technically overweight. And at the time when this was all going on and started, I was much heavier than I am now. Not that that matters. It doesn't matter at all, but it just speaks to, my body was used to a certain weight, and it held at that weight. And then last year during the heat of COVID, I aspirated into my lungs during a episode. And now, mind you, there's been many ER visits and doctor visits and tests and procedures done in the meantime. I've had one colonoscopy, 4 endoscopies, 1 gastric emptying study, 1 pill cam study, multiple CAT scans, a barium swallow test, countless blood tests, allergy tests, autoimmune tests. I mean, you name it, I've had it done. I had brain imaging for neurological issues. So it's been nonstop. And then last, like I said, in April of 2020, I aspirated into my lungs, and I had been sick for a week before I went to the emergency room, because I've gotten to the point where my body's just adapted to these episodes, and I don't deem them bad enough unless I see blood or I feel so much physical chest pain that, it's I know potassium's low and I can feel it. So I'll wait, because I don't want to pay for the money, because half the time up here in Maine, the doctors in the emergency room don't know what to do for people like me. They think it's cannabis related. They think it's anxiety. They think it's because I had an eating disorder when I was younger. You name it. I've been told it's all in my head. I've been given false diagnoses of Crohn's, gastroparesis, rapid emptying. I don't even know if I can think of other ones yet. The only one I know for sure that's accurate is GERD and just unexplained nausea and vomiting, just chronic nausea and vomiting. Now, mind you, my doctor diagnosed me with cyclical vomiting, very common. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not a very common diagnosis, but it's one of the first ones that doctors will look at, with the pattern of episodes periodically being symptomatic free or asymptomatic or whatever, in between episodes, and that's how it started. And then my theory personally is that it just has gone on for so long untreated. I mean, my nausea was not treated to begin with. I was just told it was in my head, and I was given like the most mild nausea meds ever. And then I was nauseous every day, and I was throwing up every day, and because I have a history of an eating disorder, everybody, rightfully so, kind of chalked it up to being just that. And I also have been trained not to trust my brain, in essence, when it comes to these things because of the eating disorder. So I believed that it was the eating disorder or anxiety for years. 6 years. This has been going on for 6 years. I have thrown up while driving to the point of going off into a snowbank while driving, throwing up on my clothes so many times that I've had to turn around and change for work. I started keeping an extra pair of clothes in my car. I started keeping an empty cup in my car just because I knew that I was going to be throwing up constantly, and I needed to be able to just keep driving because that's me. I don't stop. I don't stop even if I'm throwing up. And which brings me to the fact that the first episode I was working a third shift, and I started throwing up blood, and I laid on the bathroom floor, taped a note to the crisis staff window and just said, "In the bathroom, knock on door if you need help," or something like that, or if you need assistance. Tried to get somebody to come in for me, and nobody would, and I just laid on the floor and vomited, and I didn't move until somebody came in and relieved me about maybe 2 hours early before my shift ended. And then I went to the emergency room. I slept it off after that, and I came back in the next night, and I vomited blood again. Like, it just never ended. So I have been with a nutritionist, for the same nutritionist, since I came out of treatment for my eating disorder when I was 18, I guess, when I was 18, and I've had her ever since. And we've fought time and time again, back and forth about different things, and she stuck with me. And at the end of the day, she believes what I tell her. I pay this woman a lot of money. I am not lying to my providers. I pay out of pocket for my health insurance and pay my co-pays. It's private health insurance. It's not free. I have to work in order to continue to receive my insurance, and sometimes that is almost impossible, and it's definitely affected employment in the past. Anyway, I'm 27 years old. It's been going on for 6 years, and this year, after, like I said, I aspirated, my body basically couldn't maintain a baseline anymore. And I'm not going to name weight, like what it is, because it can be triggering for some, and I just don't think that's important. But I did, between January of 2021, after I got back from a girls' weekend up north in Maine, where I live. Well, I don't live up north, but I went up north. I've been in an episode that has not ended, and it's now April of 2021. So we're 4 months now. January, February, March. Yeah, we're 4 months in. Of being unable to keep food down, water, meds, that's including nausea meds and the long-term meds that I'm supposed to be on to help stop this stuff. So getting help being overweight is almost impossible, like I mentioned. So I've just been relying on the emergency room to hopefully give me anti-nausea meds, IV fluids, anti-anxiety meds, because my anxiety's through the roof when I'm in an episode, because all I can think about is the time when I was at work laying on the bathroom floor throwing up blood, thinking that that's where I was gonna die. So it's now April 8th, 7th, 8th. It's April 8th of 2021. I have lost almost 45 pounds now in the last 3 months. And I'm someone whose blood work and test results usually come back normal and positive and good, and that's wonderful, and I'm not denying that that's a good sign, but sometimes it's so aggravating when there's something wrong and there's something wrong and nothing shows it. And so it's a mental battle that I don't know if I'll ever get over. But anyway, I now have a Picc line, which was my luck is horrible, which was mistakenly placed in my right arm in my artery, causing my fingertips to lose blood circulation and turn purple, my hand to start turning purple, and I was sent from my doctor's office on a Saturday, so I didn't even get to see my primary care. I was sent to from the doctor's office to the Coast emergency room, where they did an ultrasound and saw that it was in my artery, and they put me in an ambulance and sent me to Maine Medical Center, where it was taken out, and they weren't going to replace it because I was not dying in front of them, was their words. Now, mind you, I was severely drugged and sedated for this, because I was so traumatized that anytime somebody touched me, I flinched and jolted, and I had 2 nurses comment on how jumpy I was, and it's like, I just had a nurse insert a Picc line in my home into my artery where I could have died, and she ignored all the warning signs that I had given her. Excessive bleeding, extreme pain. I can take pain, no problem, but I had pain like you wouldn't believe. And just an overall achiness that wasn't normal. Like, I had been told, you'll feel sore a little bit, you'll feel like there was something done, but there won't be pressure and it won't be painful. And mine, I felt like I had to walk like a robot, like hold my arm out so that it didn't touch anything. And so I had the nurse that placed it, before she left my house, she changed the dressing twice because it wouldn't stop bleeding. And then a nurse had to come out later that night and change it again because it didn't stop bleeding. The next morning, they had to come out and change it, and no one caught on. And they all told me that I was just having anxiety, and that, the pain would pass, and I was fine, and it was in a vein, and don't worry about it. And I have been told that all of my issues have been in my head for 6 years now, so to be told that it was in my head and come to find out it was in my artery was a big deal. So that's all happened. Maine Medical Center, like I said, they didn't want to place a new Picc line because I wasn't dying, and told me they didn't have a Picc team, they didn't have people that placed Piccs on the weekend, and blah, 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 blah. Unless it was an emergent case, which I wasn't emergent because I wasn't dying. To which I said, yeah, I am. Quite frankly, I am dying in front of you, and you don't believe me because I am overweight. And so I said to the doctor, I said, please explain to me how you would send me home but admit somebody who was an average or underweight category for the same reason. I said, you'd call a Picc team in here so fast if I was underweight, but you're not doing it because I'm not. And I'm cautious when I say those things because I've been both. I've been underweight, normal weight, average weight. I've been everything in between. So I've been there. And I can attest firsthand that when I was underweight, I got much more medical care, and I was not cross-examined and, told everything was in my head as much as I am now. So anyway, Maine Med did end up placing the Picc line because I told them I wasn't leaving if they didn't, and they could choose to end my life in the hospital or they could place the Picc. I said, but if you send me home, I'm gonna end up dying because I can't keep things down. Not because I was threatening to kill myself, but because I truly am that nutritionally just depleted, and I don't have the energy or the willpower to fight anymore. I just don't. Sometimes I don't even have the willpower to produce tears to cry over things that I want to cry about. So anyway, yeah, that's my story for the most part. It's much more detailed than that. I'll try to make more videos if anybody wants them, if they are curious. If not, then this will be the first and only one anybody will ever see from me. I just know that I wish that I had somebody who was openly overweight with, unexplained medical issues, unable to keep food down and getting treatment, because I didn't think I was gonna ever get any treatment. I truly thought I was gonna die from this. And sometimes I still think that, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I have doctors in my life now that are seeing the progression of how badly this is affecting my quality of life. And, I have a primary care ordering a Picc line and ordering IV medication and TPN and fluids and all of this stuff, because gastro doctors don't do that, because literally they told me the insurance won't cover it because I'm too fat. Word for word. Yet my doctor, a primary care, not a specialty doctor for gastro, writes the order in one day, and insurance hasn't batted an eye, and that's probably lucky for me. I feel like that's probably not the case for most people. It definitely wasn't the case for me for a long time. Insurance denied an MRI for a hand injury that I had for, I don't even know. That's a whole nother story. But basically, my point is I've been denied for many, many things from my insurance, and yet they didn't even question covering TPN, which kind of scares me a little bit because it shows me how nutritionally depleted I am. But it also explains why I'm so fucking tired. I'm 27 years old, and I literally feel like I can't make it through the day. By 12 o'clock, I am ready to just pass out. Anyway, that's my long tangent. Sorry, I'm talking quiet. I live in a house with a bunch of people, and I don't like my business being spread amongst family because I am the tough one, and I am the one that handles my shit. And I don't talk about my emotions with my family, and I don't talk about what I'm feeling, thinking, any of it, because they're dealing with it too, so I don't want to put that on them. So anyway, again, if this goes nowhere, cool. Hopefully somebody sees this somewhere and relates and finds hope in the fact that you can get help. It's not an all or nothing. You have to make yourself sick and be skinny to get help, which I used to think. And part of the issue I had was that I tried to do that. I tried really hard after I had gone to treatment and, gained my weight back, but I tried really hard after that to lose it again because I wasn't getting out. So anyway, all right, well, comment in the comment section. I don't know where it is because I'm new to videos, but questions, I'll try to answer them. Thanks.